All right, we continue on with the ultimate VR gaming machine. Hello, Ryan Shrout, our expert. Ryan's helping us build this for our Oculus Rift, which should be coming soon. Are you getting an Oculus Rift too, Ryan?
Oh yeah. I was on one of the Kickstarter
Me
backers.
too.
So
yeah.
I don't know when, but hopefully relatively soon.
They said by May. That's just about when we'll finish building this thing. And then I saw that I could get a Vive too. You know, they sold 15,000 Vives.
That's a lot
in just the first few days. So I
did a pre-order that as well.
I think I'm gonna have to get in line for that one.
Yeah.
So this would work for either, and frankly, it's going to be a great gaming machine anyway. So what have we done? This is episode 6. So we started with the CPU and motherboard. Those two kind of go hand in hand. An Intel processor and an Asus motherboard. We've added now the GPU. We're using the Strix GPU from Asus as well. We've added RAM to the device. I think the next would be the sound card.
This is an interesting. This could be an interesting debate.
We don't really need one, do we?
That's generally my kind of recommendation to people these days. Is that onboard audio is generally considered really, really good today.
What does this Asus motherboard have? This says Z170 Deluxe.
So I actually don't remember. I don't remember the name or the model.
Is it still like
of
Realtek, or who is it?
Yeah. You've got Realtek, you've got C-Media. Those are the different the brands that are still involved in that. But the codecs have gotten better. They've done better at isolating the PCB for lower noise and that type of stuff. There's still benefits to getting external audio cards, but it's very much a niche, right? It used to be you had to have one, and now it's like if you have a specific use case for one.
Well, I'll give you one right off the bat. This is we decided to go with Asus again and the Strix Soar sound card. And I don't know if this is just advertising, but when I see 116 dB signal to noise ratio, that's really good.
Yeah. That
means this thing is going to be a quiet card with a lot of amplification. It does support 7.1 Dolby sound. You may or may not use that. But is it that much better than the onboard motherboard sound?
I mean, so it's going to be better in a couple of key areas, right? As you just mentioned, it's got the better signal-to-noise ratio.
That's awesome, yeah. It's also got a Saber DAC. The DAC is important. This is from ESS, the Saber DAC. A good digital-to-audio converter is important for high-resolution music.
Yep.
And I suppose that's true in a game, too.
It is. I mean, anywhere you can improve audio quality, you're gonna see the benefit from that. It also has a better headphone amp. Then it's got a 600 ohm integrated headphone amp on this, right? So if you are an audiophile type person, you have a lot of high-end gear, this sound card will be able to drive it. An onboard sound card would not be able to do that.
Yeah, and getting it out off the motherboard, I have to think. I mean, a lot of times I say, well, get it out of the whole case, get a USB DAC. But this is going to give us better performance, I would think, than a USB
I mean,
DAC
it definitely will.
Yeah.
The one thing I will note is, this is the Rift, the Oculus Rift has a DAC in it.
Oh, interesting.
Right? The headphones that come with it, even though I'm not a huge fan of the headphones themselves, they're fine, but that's kind of all they are, is they're fine.
Yeah.
They're USB connected. They're not analog connected, right? So when you have a USB connected device, you're kind of bypassing.
Yeah, we won't be using the sound card at all.
Right. But you'll be able to use this sound card if you choose to not use that integrated audio device. So you can take those headphones off the Rift, you can use your own headphones, and thus you can run them through this sound card.
That's important to note. This is not going to help us with the Oculus. This is not going to be a big part of the ultimate virtual reality gaming machine. But you know what? If I'm building a really nice PC, I want good audio out of it.
And it's $100, right?
Not expensive. It's beautiful too. Look at
it is. Follows that Strix kind of owl theme. That's supposed to be the owl's eye there in the lower.
Is that what that is? Because it's just plastic. It's not actually.
It lights up.
Oh, it does?
Of course.
Oh, well.
It's got LEDs in it.
Yeah, you convinced me. Now we need
this.
Yeah. And let's look at the connectors. So we start with, this is the mic line in. I wouldn't use that, right? USB is always better for a mic line in, but you got it. Headphone jack. Then this is a kind of a unique connector called the box link. This is something that goes to something called a Strix box. which I don't know what that is, and we'll find out. But that would be used in a 5.1 or 7.1 setup. The Strix box sounds like it's a breakout box of some kind. It is a non-standard connector. Also, as we continue down, these are the 4 ports for the surround sound. So you've got front, rear, left and right on each of those, obviously. Center channel, that'll be probably a mono, although I guess you could have stereo center channel. And then the side channels for a 7.1 system. But that doubles as an optical connector as well. See, here's a little adapter that comes in the box, the Toslink adapter, and that gives you, so you can use the more traditional Toslink cable, that weird kind of square cable, or I'm seeing more and more of these kind of the mini jack optical cables that'll work too. So this is kind of a dual purpose analog for your side channels if you're using a 7.1, or optical if you want optical out. If you use optical out, obviously you're not using the DAC that came with this, and it's a pretty good DAC.
It's also interesting that the software that comes with this it's called Strix Sound Studio or Sonic Studio, and some people like to use that type of stuff, some don't. It actually has some interesting features in there, and I will say this, having not directly tested it on this card, but it has compressor. It has gating capability. It obviously has an equalizer. It's got virtual surround. It's got virtual reverb. It has a feature called Sonic Radar Pro, which is an interesting idea in that it's an overlay that will run on top of your game if you're playing a first-person shooter, and it gives you a radar around you, and it attempts to tell you what direction sounds are coming from.
Oh, interesting.
Visually. Oh. As opposed to just audibly.
Oh, that might be
some people
handy.
Consider that a cheat.
It
or
is
a
a cheat. That's a cheat.
Whatever,
but okay. Hey, I'm going to take every advantage I can get. Well, there you go. There's our sound card. This is for the ultimate virtual reality gaming machine, the Asus Strix Soar. And you said around $100? All right.
Yep, selling online for about
Does it
$100.
matter where I put this in? It's like this mini PCI Express thing, right? So there's three of those.
It can go in the smaller slots or the larger ones. I would just, I would kind of put it, not right next to the GPU, right? So a little bit further down on the board.
So we're going to put the GPU maybe, that's going to go here, right? So we'll put this down at this end.
Yeah.
Like this. All right. I think I'm going to start screwing this stuff into the case for the next episode, because I think we're getting pretty close. All we have to do now is add storage, right? What else? Yeah. What else let's not forget the peripherals: the screen, the mouse, the keyboard, and someday soon an Oculus Rift VR helmet. Ryan Shrout's at PCPer.com. That's where all of this information is, and his hardware leaderboard. It's right there on the front page. HW leaderboard. They'll show you how to build 4 different machines, from the dream machine to the inexpensive machine and everything in between. He also is doing a series on the same thing we're doing, building the ultimate virtual reality gaming rig, and has lots of information there. Of course, the reviews are always fantastic. We may surprise you next week. I've got some ideas about storage, so make sure you tune in. All of these will be on YouTube as well. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.